when did it first occur to you that you might become a journalist? At what age? When you were reading the paper, the Statesman, I believe, that time, or listening to All India Radio?
No, certainly not listening to All India Radio, because radio wasn't a means available in the school, and I was in boarding school. But yes, the newspaper was available, and I think we got into the newspaper habit very, very, very early. Writing is basically a function of reading, and not many people understand that unless you actually read and absorb and feel the fascination of the power of information. I would not go so far as to say knowledge, because knowledge requires perhaps much more than newspaper reading, but information. And information builds your interest in the environment. Environment creates questions in the mind, and questions in the mind inevitably provoke you to think of answers. And once you start thinking of answers, then the temptation, perhaps there is a mild amount of egotism involved even at that age, but this desire to write the answers, to find the solutions, then, or to even analyze, becomes basically the foundation stone of writing. And I think it is funny, we were all in Calcutta Boys School in the boarding.
One of the best schools in Calcutta.
That is irrelevant to our conversation. At that time, I recall, the first glimmer of a byline came in the letters to the editor. And we started writing, and I think it became hilarious. I think this was in class 10. 9, I know that I was writing, and then in class 10, there came a point where every single letter published in the Statesman on that particular day had been written by one of us in our class. That was funny, but that is the kind of peak of competition within. And I think, fortunately, around that time, the Statesman started publication, a magazine called JS. But before that,
Junior Statesman in the beginning?
It's JS always. Junior Statesman is what it was sort of became known as, but some people called it, but it was always JS. But before that, the temptation, or not very unprofessional, I must say, the temptation to earn 10 rupees by getting something published in a magazine in Bombay called Mirror was very high. And that grew, the JS appeared, but I think the turning point, if you may say, I was still in class 11. I had not done my senior Cambridge, but I wrote a piece about Telnipada, about a sage in Telnipada who had come, a wandering holy man who took shelter under our local banyan tree. And I remember, I wrote it certainly, that it was raining, and the sage said very wisely that the banyan tree is an extremely powerful symbol or metaphor, because when it rains, it gives you shelter, but after it stops raining, it actually makes you wet, because the water keeps dripping off the leaves. And anyway, I found it nice enough as an idea. I took it to the Statesman, and lo and behold, it was published in a section of the edit page called Now and Again. And miraculously, a little later, a check of 50 rupees arrived at my home. My father couldn't believe that anyone could get paid 50 rupees for anything in words. And he never cashed the check, because he believed that If he actually claimed that his son had been given 50 rupees, nobody would believe him. So you'd carry that check around to. Anyway, I think this was a very important part of the journey towards choosing. I quickly got choosing journalism as a profession. In fact, my first job that I got, and since I'm discussing my father, who remains a very powerful memory in my life, I remember my first job that I got was as senior management trainee in DCM. And that was huge. I mean, among the two top jobs, it was either Hindustan Lever or DCM at the time. Starting salary was something enormous, 1,250 rupees.